Hello, my name is Miss Maddie. Today we are going to talk about two-step add to and take away problems. So before we get started in that, we're going to do something that we are all a little bit more familiar with, okay? So we're going to talk about this word problem to start. They are asking, Miss Edwards has some crayons in a box. She put some crayons in the box. Now there are more crayons in the box. Okay, so this one is a little bit tricky. All right, so I'm just going to open my drawing tool so that I can help you with this. All right, so we know that she has some crayons and she put some crayons in the box. And now there are more crayons in the box, okay? So we are going to think of some possible equations, and we're just going to do two for this one. Some possible equations that represent how many crayons Miss Edwards has in the box, okay? So we know that there are some crayons, and then she put more crayons in the box. Okay, so this is what that would look like, all right? So we are going to use our addition symbol here because she started with some crayons, and then she's putting some crayons, and then she has more crayons in the box, all right? So we can start with any number that we're comfortable with. Maybe she has 5 crayons in the box, and then she puts 4 more in the box. And that would be 9 crayons in the box. All right. So another equation to do, we're going to set it up the same way, and we already know that we're going to use our addition sign here. Okay. So maybe she starts with 10 crayons in the box, right? We don't know how many there are. That could be any number. Okay. Then she puts some crayons into that box. All right. Maybe she's adding 6 crayons into that box. Now we end with 16 crayons in the box. Okay, so that's just how we solve or match an equation to a word problem, okay? So I'm going to skip a couple pages here and get to our lesson for today. So we are solving two-step add to and take from problems, okay? So let's look at this first question. How are they the same and how are they different? So in our first problem, Jaya has 6 books. She buys 2 more books. And in our second problem, Tom has 6 books. He buys 2 more books. He donates 1 book. So I will pull up my little writing box again. Now, let's write the equation for Jaya, okay? So Jaya starts with 6 books. She buys 2 more books. Now remember that more word is telling us that we need to add. Okay, so 6 plus, how many more books is she getting? So we see that she is getting 2 more books, okay? So 6 plus 2 equals 8. So Jaya has 8 books. All right, now we're going to look at Tom. So Tom has 6 books. He buys 2 more books. So we're adding 2 books. All right, so before we continue, let's solve this one. So we already know that 6 plus 2 equals 8. So here he has 8 books. But now Tom is donating 1 book. So if he is donating a book, he is getting rid of it, right? So we are taking that book away from how many books he has. So then we're going to say 8 minus, remember that's take away, 1 book equals 7. So Tom has 7 books. All right, so let's look at this first problem in our book. I will turn the page again, okay? So let's go through this activity together and I'll talk you through it. So Luca has 14 seashells. He finds 2 more seashells. He gives his brother 8 seashells. How many seashells does Luca have? So this right here, how many seashells does Luca have? That is the question we're trying to answer, okay? So how many does he have in the end? So I will pull up my little drawing again. And while I'm doing that, I want you to kind of in your mind think about what our important numbers are here, okay? So Luca has 14 seashells. So we're going to start with 14 seashells. Now he finds 2 more, okay? So more, again, that tells us that we need to add. All right, and he is adding 2 more seashells, okay? Let's do that. 14 plus 2 is 16. All right, so now he gives his brother 8 seashells. So we know that he has 16 now. So we're going to take 16 minus 8 equals 8. Okay, now let's look at how the book solved it, because sometimes the book uses a different method, and that's great, okay? And there's lots of different ways to solve this. So, shells he has is 14. Shells he finds is 2. So 14 plus 2 is 16. This shows how many he has, right? Now, if we scroll down a little bit, how many seashells does he have left? Okay, so this is how many seashells he has, and he gives 8 away. All right, so 16 seashells take away 8 seashells that he gave away. 16 minus 8 equals 8. And if you look over here, that is the same answer that we got, 8 seashells. All right, so how do you know what quantities to add or subtract? All right, so we'll look back at this problem, and we knew how to add, or whether to add or subtract, because of the words that they used, right? So he has 14 seashells, all right? He finds 2 more, so that more tells us that we need to add, okay? And this word gives, he gives his brother 8 seashells. If you give something away, they're no longer yours. So we are taking them away, and take away, we would subtract. Okay, so we're going to do this one together. All right, I will show you, and then you will continue your work in your book. Okay, so Coach Lou has 10 baseballs. He buys 6 more baseballs. His pitcher gives him 3 baseballs. How many baseballs does Coach Lou have now? Okay, so we know that we're starting with 10 baseballs, all right? And then he buys 6 more. And again, that more tells us that we are adding. So 10 plus 6 more baseballs. Okay, that equals 16. So right now he has 16 baseballs. We're right here, okay? His pitcher gives him 3 baseballs. How many baseballs does Coach Lou have now? So this one's a little tricky. We still have our 16, but he gets 3 more from the pitcher. All right? So the pitcher is giving him 3, but Coach Lou is taking those. So he is adding those 3 baseballs, okay? So now Coach Lou has 19 baseballs all together, right? Because he started with 10, he bought 6 more, and then his pitcher gave him 3. All right, so in your books, you are going to do the section on my own. Okay, there are 6 problems. Let's make sure that we are reading them all the way through and choosing the answers. If you need help, then just raise your hand, okay? And your teacher will come help you. And make sure you use those strategies. Remember when you are going to use addition and when you are going to use subtraction. And don't be afraid to break it down into more than one problem, okay? That'll make it way more easy for you. All right, good luck.